I'm not gonna lie to you guys right now. I am pretty hurt. I didn't even get invited to beta test the synth, man, after 8 years of, all jokes aside. serum2 is here. I'm finding out with you guys now that it just came out. All of that aside, after 8 years, and even doing a free masterclass on YouTube. No, I'm kidding. First off, it's a free upgrade for anyone, which already in that is very commendable from Steve, so pray. It looks like we have 3 oscillators now. It looks like we can change between oscillators from a wavetable to a multi-sample to a sampler to granular and spectral. Now, multi-sample, I'm assuming it's going to be like samples that are recorded at different octave ranges so that the sample actually sounds like a goddamn bass pluck by the time you get all the way up and it doesn't sound like a goddamn chipmunk. I mean, we have a bunch of new noises for these guys as well. So if you want like that techno, like Age of Love. Oh shit, we have new wavetables too. I know I'm all over the place because this is an actual first impression video. So we have some new analog AT. Okay, AT audio temp. Okay. Okay, I see how it is. Okay, we have digital waveforms as well. So the cool thing about, you know, wavetable synthesizers, I tell people, is that they make you sound better than you actually are. And what I mean by that is, yes, you can do all the warps and you can do all that crazy stuff, right? But if you have really good wavetables, like this Mr. Bruce Lee one speaks to me. Mix with them by just grabbing an LFO, going to your wavetable position, and just moving through them like that. Move over, Skrillex. But no, super sick. So we have access to new wavetables. Granular now. Now, granular is super dope. Essentially, it's just going to be a sample that you're going to put in. You can split that sample's time into little grains. So that's how you decide the grain size. And the idea of granular usually for me is to use it to create like really nice ambient sounds. So for instance, here we have the scan rate, how fast we're going, the density, how big are the grains. If we go really high, the grains are really, just really small. Down, they're usually bigger. Usually with granular, you do have this variation or scan filter. So pretty much we go into the location or where we're at, and we can change. And I think it's going to be this rand here. We can change where we're at. Change the pitch, the direction, the offset, location. So ideally, you don't want to sound like that. So we'll leave the pitch at the same. At 0, like that, and then we play multiple notes at once. Let's use a filter. Sound. You know, we can create nice stuff with that. There we go. But now if we lower the rand down, and it looks like we can change it here to a forward loop, forward and reverse tail. So there's deep here, bro. This is deep. But from here, we can also add like some unison. It's really nice. Really nice, Steve. Whew. Oh man. Contact move over, right? I'm not like Ableton has spectral, and to this day, I have yet to learn what it is, but I know it's sample based, so again, we can find something like a piano. Like, that's sick. And there's some warps for it too, which is crazy. And oh my god, we have new stuff like a filter, spectral, and you have access to all of these. Wow. Okay, pitch shift. Look at that. Oh man. That's going to be cool for the techno people, because again, you grab a everything sounds good with reverb, man. It's like, that's going to make it really easy for sample pack creators like myself and preset makers to just go above and beyond. I think the key is, since we have so many options now, it's going to be to take a chill pill and know how to dial in the sounds. Know when enough is enough. But that's really cool. Those are the new waveforms we have. Anything new happen? No. We have detunement. There is this wrench here now, so it looks like, okay, cool. We have our different modes here, super. Back then, we would have to go into the global section in order to reach that, and then we would be able to modulate there. But even the global section has new stuff added to it, and it looks like voice control as well. Similar to Diva, where you can make, well, let's see. Yeah, so every note is going to be a little different, so we can detune every note like this, so we make it sound analog, per se, right? So now every note can change. wavetable position, detunement, the blend's all the same. The warps here are different. It looks like you can have up to 2. So back then you can only have 1, like a PWM. Thin out the sound, make it sound like someone's getting choked. Stack these guys up to 2. So we can have a PWM, and then we can have something cool like that. And where we have the subsection, which looks like it also has new features, same wavetables, but now we have access to a course there. So one of the issues back then is that if you wanted to do like a pitch change or like a vibrato effect to the sub as well, because a lot of the times with the sub, you put it below the oscillator octave that you have here. So it provides meat to the sound. There's this arrow here, and it's all voices contiguous. I don't know what that is for. Maybe if I put more than 1, it will show us its true identity. And I'm not too sure if that is based on how detune each voice is, but very interesting. Gonna have to read the manual on that. Do notice that now we have an FM and a PD. I'm assuming PD stands for phase distortion. So one of the big things about Serum back then is that when you used to do FM with it, it wasn't actual FM. It was phase distortion instead, which sounds very similar to FM. So now we can increase the FM ratio there. Okay, now if we go PD, I'm assuming it's gonna sound the same. Slight difference. So we have actual FM now and phase distortion. So we have access to the old FM from Serum here. Serum, now we have the noise section here. It seems like everything is the same. We do have a color feature here, which I saw this. Cool. Noise pitch. I don't know what this is, man. It's scaring me a little bit. I'm assuming it's meant to emulate like when you're playing Call of Duty and you know, you're close to the uranium or the radiation, and it's like, So that's pretty cool. And we can also stereo it. But it's interesting to me that they call these color. I'm assuming they're just noises, but. Okay, now we have a filter or noise pitch. So as a sound designer making sweeps for sample packs is going to be a lot easier. We have our noise pan there, and then we have this. Fucking great. Back then I used to hate that Serum didn't have a stereo for the noise, because when I would be making white noises, I would have to add a chorus effect and vice versa. So that's pretty cool. This filter section, now we have 2 parallel, and that is super clutch. The main reason, right, as you guys know, I'm of heavy melodic techno, tech house presets used by some of the best in the scene. Genesee, Space 92, David Guetta, A-Lock, Mal P, James Hype, you guys name it. And one of the things when I was making these bass patches that are in these packs is that I would always kind of hate how I couldn't have, like, let's say a square sub, right? Because I don't believe in a sine sub too much unless you're at a higher key. I would hate how you couldn't have 2 parallel oscillators. For example, here I could have the bass or the square, right, go there and be deep. I like this kind of a sub. 2. And now I'm assuming I can route it to filter 2. And now there I can remove the low end out of it. So that way this is the top layer. Now I can have this as -3 and not run the risk of the low end colliding. And we get that. And then finally, if we go into the FX, I'm assuming I can add a filter. We also have new filters that we can play with. So if we go to filter 1, yep, S2 filters, and we have a new one called WSP. And then we have a more for it. Okay, and we have a drive. Now, I don't know what WSP means, but I'm going to assume it's based on the Wasp synthesizer, which is a very loud synth. Okay, because some of the ones, like the German one and then they had the French one. I thought the French one was always the Dave Smith one and the German one was the Moog one. But I know I'm wrong on that. It's just the way I always thought Dave Smith synths with their French filters sounded rather thinnish. The Curtis filter, right? And the German sounded more like whatever those tanks were called from World War II. Okay, we have a DJ mixer, which I'm assuming is going to be the DJM. Ah, okay, so you get reach the middle and it morphs almost, and this one does nothing. So it sounds like this plugin from Kilohertz called the disperser. So I'm assuming that's what that's doing. I mean, the similarities are too close, right? Sounds very similar to it. So that's the diffuser. So we have access to that. So, you know, competing with the faceplant a bit. We have the MG ladder, which I'm assuming is the Moog filter. We can smooth in it. So I'm assuming that plays with the Resonance a bit, or acid one. So if I wanted to make acid, probably lower this. We omit the low end out. So that's cool. We have the acid filter. I don't see anything else that we can mess with. We have an EMS. I don't know what that stands for. But it also can make very nasty acid there. Cool. Key track there. And then what else do we have? MG dirty. And again, it seems like all these filters, right? It's just the way they react when you put the resonance up and how you go from the left to the right and how the drive's gonna interact. So that's pretty interesting. We have PB, SBF. I don't even know what that is. And now we have this. What is that? I don't know what that's for. Oh, and you can write or what? Don't tell me you can draw a damn filter. Okay, let's make something crazy here. Like, I'll just go down. What is it? Go figure, but it looks like we can definitely mess with this. I'm trying to make a phaser. And then from there, comb. We have a second comb, which again was very useful for drum and bass sound design, dubstep sound design. EXP-MM. Looks like a notch, but what else am I missing here? Could be a filter from like a very popular analog synth. And then we have a band pass F. From there to the bottom left, it looks like we have 8 macros now, which is making life for sound designers that care to put mods and macros a lot harder now to fill, but we have access to 8 of those, which I'm assuming the Matrix also got a lot longer. You're going to be able to have more modulations there before it runs out of slots. So that's also pretty cool. Okay, so with the envelopes, it seems like everything is the same. We do have a BPM to an MS. You have BPM, you have your attack, and you can kind of set it to sync values, which is cool. Because sometimes when you're making uplifters, right, and you're like, I want an 8-bar uplifter, then it's hard to kind of gauge it. But now you can just go straight to the 8-bar and stuff. So, touche. It's very useful stuff. It seems like that's all the envelope section got, but you guys can tell me in the comments if I miss anything. From the LFO sections, let's see. We have the normal, we have path. So what is that? Let's say that I add it to the fine real quick. Very interesting. I've never seen anything like this. Let's see. Oh, a triangle. Okay. How would that sound like with like a cool monster waveform? That's X. Okay, so that's the path. We have a chaos Lorentz. So now we can see what the chaos is actually doing so that you get the noise going around. Let's see if we increase the speed. Okay. And I guess it's going to be something that creates like form of binaural. Let's slow it down a bit. Definitely sounds binaural. So it's like it's going around the head effect. And then we have a sample and hold. So who needs Euro racks, dog? Like $180, man. But now I like sample and holds. Usually we would do that by holding shift and boom, 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 boom. That's what I would call my sample and hold in old Serum. But now we have access to one here, which is really cool for creating intricate effects-based sequences. So super cool. And it seems like that's it when it comes to the LFOs. We do have a mono knob. We still have our rise and our delay and our smooth there. We have our sync. Am I missing anything? I mean, on the right side, we do have, okay, it's something where we can create waveforms a lot easier than before. So now we have access to that. Now, as I move over to the mix bus, it looks like we have the mix bus for multiple oscillators that we have access to. So we can control the volume here. I wonder if I move this down, if it changes over here. Like if I do A here, move down, move this back up. Yeah, they are linked. So that's what that's going to be useful for in case you don't want to go back. We can route our filters here to 1 or 2. We have our filters here with the image of the filter we're using, and we can change it. Okay, so by default, envelope 1 was always routed to the amp. So this is going to pretty much indicate whether this will be affected by that envelope. So if I turn it off, it's just like it's gated. We have our buses here. So We can control the volume of each one. So if we go into the effects, now we have access to 2 buses. So why is that useful? Well, sometimes, you know, you can treat your buses like sends. I'm assuming that's what these are going to be. So if I create here, let's say we go to bus 1 and I want to add a reverb, right? So, right, it looks like, yeah, now bus 1 is a return where I can get rid of that. Right, we get that, but now if I want to add the reverb, we have it in a separate channel. And with the reverb, it looks like we have different modes, vintage. You know, a lot of people used to complain about the Serum reverb not sounding good, so I'm pretty curious what people are going to start to think about the new ones that we have access to, and we have access to a lot of different ones. Basin. And then we have the call. Okay, cool. So yeah, so the buses are going to be essentially like returns that you would use in your DAW, and that's going to be very useful because usually when you would route a reverb, let's say right on top of the sound, the problem with that is that as you approach the mix higher up and up, you eventually swamp the original sound, which sometimes can be a desired effect, but in this situation, it seems like, yeah, you now have a return, so now you don't run into that issue. Super cool. I'm curious if we have access to any new effects. So it looks like we have splitters, reverb, phaser, hyper. The only new ones I see is the bode. Okay. Okay, so here we have the equalizer, which is looking a lot nicer. So you can gain stage. Okay, next we have the distortion. It looks like we do have some new distortion, soft saturation. We have overdrive, tape saturation, compressor, in single mode. Very nice. Here's below, X high. If we go multi-band, and we have that. Move that up and down. The release. I think we can mess with this now. Okay, some new features, and then you can control each volume individually as well. Play, which now we still have the same, and now we have a high quality mode that we can activate. Okay, cool. The chorus looks like it's staying the same, just looks a lot nicer. We have the filters, which is going to be similar to before. So access to a lot of new stuff. The buses will definitely come in handy for adding more depth to the sounds. The thing that caught my eye was at the bottom of Serum, there is a clip and an ARP feature. So one of the big things about Serum is that it never really had an ARP. So okay, and we have this new feature that opens up. I like how it's integrated into the synth. Let's open it up a bit more. So right now it's just a 16th. It looks like I can switch it to 1/32 here. We have a lot of different types of ARPs here. I like how it shows it here too on the bottom right. That's pretty nice. Like, it's a stacked ARP. We have the repeat, which I believe it will stop playing after it does 5 circulations. From there to the left, there's, oh my God, a clip section here. Damn, they went all out, bro. All right, let's get a different patch for this one. And by the way, it looks like the Ableton one, okay? So we already know what team Steve is on. So let's program something here real quick. And what do I just hit play or play a note? I hit play, it doesn't do anything. Maybe I just hit play here. Now, my question is, I'm assuming you're going to be able to route this to different synths. Like, there's probably a way of doing that. So you can definitely create some nice sequences for yourself in Serum. We have poly mode, we have mono mode. And then from there, we can set the length here, it looks like. So if I wanted 8 or 4 bars, then I can do that here. So just 1 bar. Let's see if we go 4. How are you going to... Okay, yeah, you can move to the right. I don't know if that's going to be clutch because, I don't know, usually I'll just do that inside of Ableton, but it's super cool to see that, again, the effort was made to be put into Serum. But a lot of times stuff like this, I'll just go into Ableton, right? But this could be for other people, you know, it's just my style, I guess. Like I like to use the Ableton MIDI note. This does look useful for people that are more out of the box or like to have like a sequencer like this inside of the synth. I have some synths over here, but I never use the sequencer. I never find myself needing to. We have keyboard span. We have different modes here, reverse, so we can reverse it for happy accidents. So if I go 1, so it's like literally a pendulum. So it goes back and forth. And also random start. So these are all cool. I see them as happy accident kind of things, you know, machines. And what I mean by that is that pretty much, you know, when you do this, maybe your melody in reverse is a hit melody that, you know, Sabrina Carpenter is going to want to buy off you or Fisher or Tiesto, right? So that's super cool. And velocity retrig. We can also record ourselves. So that's fucking clutch. Let's see. I wonder if you can grab this and go and put it inside of Ableton, that would be funny. You can, bro. What the fuck? All right. All right. Damn, bro. Like, Steve went all out. It's like, you know, during his time away, like he was on vacation, it seems, because he used to have an Instagram and everyone was just faceplant, pigments. Now the question, now I'm going, who? The crazy thing for me is that you can still open up presets from previous ones because I have been working on a new pack for you guys called All-Star Volume 2, which is a drum and bass pack that sounds proper, doesn't sound OTT to hell. Din. So here we have these sounds. So everything seems to be working on it, and it seems like you can add the new features into it as well. Here we have the mix and stuff. When I first saw Serum 2, I was definitely a little like overwhelmed by all the features that it has, and I'm still gonna say I'm definitely overwhelmed as a sound designer. I'm still gonna use it. It feels like these new features are just new ways for us to do stuff, and if we ever wanted to do something more intricate using buses, now we can do it. But again, it seems to be the same Serum, the same work process as well. Super fun, super dope. So yeah, those are my first impressions on Serum 2. If you have it, then it's a free update and I'm super excited to start getting to work with it. So again, let's thank Steve for making it for free. It does offer you to tip, so make sure you tip something at least 20 bucks for some, you know, Diet Coke or something, man. Let's try it on this one, FM. Solid. Those are my first impressions on Serum 2. I tried to go through everything that is new. I don't know if I did hit everything, but you guys can tell me in the comments maybe some of the things that I was kind of questioning. But yeah, I'm excited, guys. Like I said, super dope update. Free for you guys, so make sure you check it out. Get through the website. Keep refreshing until you get it. But other than that, you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you next time for another video. You guys take care, and peace out.